Yeah, 유학을 원한다면 welcome to my 호주. 근데 웹 서칭해도 광고글이 전부 강무작정 떠나고픈 내게 필요한 건 바다군이다. 알려주는 호주. 일단 협박했어 교감해 like yes. 우린 아주 솔직히 호주 우리 나 body no flex. 돈 일단 들고 들어봐봐 빨리 고민 편견 오해 싹 다 풀어줘 like 마사지. 안녕하세요. 바다군이 다 알려준 호주 바다군입니다. 되게 오랜만에 뵙는 것 같고요. 그동안 계속 학교 얘기를 주로 다뤘었어요. 근데 오늘은 조금 다르게 소개를 조금 시켜드리려고 합니다. 호주 하면 보통 이제 IELTS라는 시험을 보통 먼저 떠오르실 거예요. 대학교나 이제 호주에 공부하기를 이제 준비하셨던 분들이라면. 근데 이제 최근에는 IELTS 말고도 조금 다양한 방법으로 호주 대학교를 진학할 수 있는 방법들이 생겼는데 그 중에서 이제 PTE 아카데미라는 이제 시험이 있어요. 이 시험에 대해서 오늘은 간단하게 이게 어떤 시험이고 어떻게 준비하셔야 되고 어떤 것들이 있는지 조금 알려드리려고 합니다. 그동안 이제 한국에서 사실 이제 PTE라는 시험이 많이 알려져 있진 않아가지고 보통 제가 얘기를 학생들하고 나눠봐도 PTE 준비를 해보시면 어떨까요? 라고 얘기를 드려도 이 PTE 시험이 뭔지 모르겠어요. 이거 어떻게 준비해야 돼요? IELTS는 알겠는데 PTE 학원은 어떻게 다녀야 돼요? 이런 거 물어보시는 분들 되게 많이 계세요. 그래서 오늘은 제가 특별한 분들을 모셨습니다. 그냥 그 PTE 학원이나 이런 데서 이제 막 하는 그런 강사들 그런 분들 아니시고요. PTE 아카데미 본사에서 오셨습니다. 지금 PTE 한국 담당하고 계시는 이제 매튜와 그 다음에 지금 캐나다 정부 학교에서 함께 이제 PTE 같이 하고 있는 이제 그 카이 씨 오셨습니다. 이분들 직접 소개 한번 들어보고요. 그다음에 한번 얘기 나눠보시면 될 것 같아요. Could you please introduce yourself, you guys?
Yeah, 안녕하세요. My name is Matthew Lampkin and I work for Pte Academic and I manage our relationships with universities and colleges in Australia and also work with Pte Academic here in Korea. So what I really want to do is help Korean students with their applications and achieving the right English testing result in order to enter a university or get a visa to study or migrate to Australia. So I've been living in Australia for just 4 years. I'm actually British, as maybe you can tell from my accent. So I've actually gone through that process of applying to live in Australia and moving there myself. So hopefully Pte Academic will help more of you do the same, really. Thank you. Kai?
My name is Kai Percy and I'm from Canada. And I do very much the same role that Matthew does, except in Canada. So making sure that we have recognition at all the right institutions so that anyone from Korea can apply to an institution in Canada and have our test accepted there.
그래서 지금 이제 두 분들 모시고 오늘 이제 간단하게 PT는 어떤 시험이고 어떻게 준비해야 되고 특히 제가 오늘 좀 신경 썼던 게 이분들이 이제 같이 얘기를 하면서 오늘은 이런 얘기는 꼭 해줬으면 좋겠어요 준비했던 게 시험 팁 어떻게 준비해야 되고 이게 세 가지 섹션으로 이제 앞으로 얘기하겠지만 세 가지 섹션으로 보통 이루어질 건데 각 섹션별로 어떤 거 중심적으로 준비하셔야 되는지 한번 얘기를 나눠보려고 합니다. 일단 여기 준비를 하신 게 있으시대요. 그래서 일단 브리프하게 우리 이 시험은 뭔지 한번 보고 차근차근 얘기해 나가도록 해요.
So today, as Chris mentioned, we're just going to start with a little look about who accepts PT Academic, then look at what makes the test different from other tests and some key information we think you need to know when taking the test here in Korea. We'll then look at some example questions, tips and how to prepare, really. So I'll just hand over to Kai for who accepts PTE.
Thanks, Matt. I think the most important thing that you want to know is that the Pearson Test of English is accepted globally. That includes the US, where over 500 institutions accept the Pearson Test of English, including Harvard, the Harvard School of Business, and the Yale and Fulbright schools. At Canada, where I live, on 90% of the public institutions, universities and colleges accept the Pearson Test of English. And when you go across the world, you can see that we have 96% of the institutions in the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. 100% of the institutions there accept the Pearson Test of English.
That's right, and actually in Australia, the test has got very popular for Korean students, and we now deliver over 200 test sessions every week within Australia. So it's become the most popular test, and when someone books the test, we ask them, how did you find out about it? And most students say, because my friend told me, which we think is very good. It means they're happy with the results and telling their friends about it.
Before that, I have a quick question.
Oh,
For the Australia, that they can use the PT result for the migration, right?
Yeah, it's used a lot for migration. Also many professional bodies. So if you're an engineer and you need to apply for a skill assessment, for example, or a nurse. So migration, work visas, entering university and college. So it's pretty much everything you need a test for, and there's more details about who accepts on our website as well. But, yeah. I suppose some key information here in Korea, we test very often. In fact, in Seoul, we test 6 days a week, twice a day, 6 days a week. And we have centers near City Hall and in Gangnam. It's very close to the Bada office, actually, if you need a test. You can book a test as little as 24 hours in advance, then get the results typically in 5 business days. But on average, it's just a couple of days to get your results. So you can book, get your results very fast, possibly even within a week. So you're able to then complete an application to university and get your spot confirmed. The test itself is in 1 3-hour session. So you do reading, writing, speaking, listening, 1 3-hour session. You don't have to come back on a separate occasion for speaking. So it's all done there and then in the test center. So it's a little shorter than some tests.
지금 IELTS 같은 경우에는 우리 보통 일주일에 한 번씩 이제 볼 수 있는데 for the IELTS they have every week. Yeah. So, but comparing your one is 6 days in a week, right?
Yeah.
그래서 되게 좀 자주 있고 시험 결과도 바로바로 되게 나오니까 지금 타이트하게 지금 계획 잡고 계시는 분들 같은 경우에는 저 같은 경우에도 IELTS보다는 PTE 시험을 보통 많이 추천을 해드리거든요. 왜냐면 시간적으로 되게 조금 계획을 잘 세울 수 있어가지고 이런 부분도 되게 좀 장점인 것 같아요. 그래서 이 부분도 같이 보시면 될 것 같아요.
Yeah. So hopefully you can pick and choose a time that suits yourself. Really, that's what we want to do. So you're not inconvenienced in any way. The test fee in Korea is 20만 원, but today for this we've got a discount, so it's actually 20만 5천 원. So a 10% discount that people are able to get, and I'll explain that a bit further.
이거 방송 보시는 분들 지금 얘기하셨는데 방송 보시는 분들 특전으로 이거 방송 보시고 연락 주시는 분들한테 10% 프로모션 오늘 코드를 드릴 거예요. 그리고 그 코드는 저희가 방송 중에 공개는 하진 않을 거고요. 이거 보시고 연락 주시면은 저희가 이제 제공을 해드리기로 이제 얘기가 됐거든요. 그래서 꼭 저희한테 뭐 비용이 나가는 것도 아니고요. 저희한테 뭐 따로 뭐 저희 학생 아닌데 저희 좀 저희는 이제 받아주는 바다유학의 지원을 받아 만들어지는 컨텐츠다 보니까 바다유학 학생이 아닌데 아니어도 되나요? 상관없습니다. 이 방송 보시고 연락 주시면 저희가 10% 프로모션 코드 같이 드릴 테니까요. 보시고 꼭 연락 주시면은 훨씬 좋을 것 같아요.
So just have a little look inside a test center, what it looks like. So firstly, you go into the waiting room, as you can see on the screen. You go through the registration procedure, so you hand over your passport. We have a palm vein scanner. We take a photograph of you at the test center, and then that appears on your certificate. You read the rules. This is the palm vein scanner you can see on the screen now. There's actually a unique pattern of veins in your palm, more so than a fingerprint. So it's something we do for security, but it is quite quick to go through the registration process. It's all digital. So you then put your things in a locker. So just making sure you don't have a Google Watch or something with all the answers on. So you just put your bag there, and you keep your key. The testing room itself, you're wearing a headset for the speaking, and you're in between a booth, so you have your own private space. Each student within that test center is also doing a completely different test. So it means if I was taking the test with Kai, I don't have to wait for him to finish. We're not listening to the same CD. I can work at my own pace. The questions are timed, but if I finish, I can press next and move on. So it's designed to be a bit more of a personal experience. So even for the speaking, it's not a face-to-face with someone. You can sit there on computer by yourself and hopefully just concentrate on the questions, really, without worrying about anything else. Really. So within Korea, as I mentioned, it's testing 6 days a week in Gangnam, and we have a test center in City Hall. At the moment, it's a 24-hour wait for a test. So a lot of availability. We also, on our website, pearsonpte.com, that's where you book a test. There's information in Korean and English, and also preparation material. The Korea Herald also have some information in Korean on their website as well that you can look. The Korea Herald running our test center in Gangnam.
지금부터 제일 집중하셔야 돼요. 제일 중요한 내용. 시험 어떻게 이루어지는지, 그러니까 어떤 시험인지는 알고 일단은 들어가야 되잖아요. 그래서 어떻게 시험이 어떤 모듈로 운영되는지 한번 그거부터 이제 한번 볼게요.
Alright, thank you. So yeah, we're just going to have a look at the test itself now. So just firstly the overview, and then we'll look at a few example questions. Okay. And it's worth mentioning at this point, on our website, you can actually watch a little YouTube clip of every question anyway and get some tips. So we just go through a few today, and you can go on our website to see more. But the test starts off with a self-introduction. It's not assessed, a chance to test you're comfortable speaking into the microphone.
Is there no marking?
No marking. No marking. I would take it seriously though, because just get yourself in the right frame of mind, just go through your introduction. It's not assessed. No. Part 1 is speaking and then writing. So it comes in the same section, but it's speaking first, then writing. Then we have the listening. Then there's a 10-minute optional break, which I suggest you take. Go and stretch your legs, maybe go to the bathroom, something like that. And then you have the listening. So we have 20 different types of question. So there's some more than other tests, but one of the things that makes it different is, say, in the speaking. So if Kai and I, if this was a speaking test, if I'm talking, Kai's answering, he has to listen to what I'm saying. But usually in a speaking test, he wouldn't get any points for that. So in our test, what we try to do is give you points for any skill that you need to use. So in this situation, he might get points for listening and speaking. So throughout the test, you get points in many areas. So that's how you build up a very consistent score. And that's one thing that people quite like about the test, is the scoring, and very consistent. So.
For the speaking, and then so there might be a lot of accent. I mean, some people say the American accent, and some people say the British accent, and also Aussie accent, something like Indian accent, something like. Is there any difference? I mean, American accent has got more correctly. I mean, as a marking, and then so is there or it no differences for the mark?
What's important is just clear communication. If you go to study somewhere like Australia or Canada at a university, it's an international environment. So you don't have to speak with a perfect British accent. I don't have a British accent, and mine's a bit strange. I've travelled a lot, and yeah, it's designed to be more international. So if you've learnt American English, British English, you have Australian pronunciation, I wouldn't worry, you're treated equally. What's important is the clear communication, if what you're saying is understood, really.
for example, so how about this way?
Okay.
If I use the Austrian word because some word is different American and Austrian, right? And then but my pronunciation is American. How about this?
I think that if it's, as a general rule, if it's recognizable English,
Yeah.
a particular country, then you should be fine. With the differences, say spellings as well. British English, American English spellings are fine, but in the essay, I would recommend try to be consistent. So if you're writing British English spelling, be consistent with that. But yeah, I think accents are something that people worry about quite a lot with it, but really as clear, coherent communication is what's important.
Yeah, and the test is designed to recognize over 130 different dialects. So and control and make those basically on a level playing field. So you will not be given a less mark because you have a certain accent versus another part of the world.
Okay. Then how about the I heard that's a lot of the question.
No, go for it. Go. Give us a grilling.
How about the speed? I mean, when I searched the Korean community for the PT skills, and then the recommendation I have to actually they mentioned like I have to speak like in 2 minutes with the all task. So it is true, or it doesn't matter how speed I read that article on the reading part.
I used to teach in Korea for a couple of years, and I would say that generally speaking, Koreans speak, the pronunciation is quite clear in the speed. It's quite easy to understand Koreans. Sometimes with PTE, people think, oh, I've got to talk really quickly or slowly or loud or quiet. Just talk normally is what I'd recommend. The way you would have a normal conversation. Sometimes people think too much about technique and think, right, on this question I've got to talk really loudly, then I'll get a high score or things like that. I would always recommend just talking normally. There is one question, read aloud, it's called, where you're reading a paragraph and you are timed to read that paragraph. So we have some practices of this on our website, so you can try it. But that is timed. What I'd recommend as a little tip when you're reading that, if you make a mistake in the middle of that paragraph that you're reading out loud, don't start again from the beginning. Continue where you are. Because otherwise you're just going to be repeating yourself and you'll run out of time. Many questions on PTE, they're called partial credit questions. So it's not a question of right or wrong. So it might be that with that kind of question, you get most of it correct and you say it really well, but maybe you run out of time and don't say a couple of words at the end. You might still get a very high score. It might not be 100% because you've missed a couple of words, but you could still get a very good score. So many questions on PTE are like that.
So this is one of our first sample questions, and this is called Describe Image. And what you're asked to do is look at a target image, and you're given a specific amount of time to describe that image into the microphone. And of course, you are graded on your accuracy and how well you can express what you see in the image. But it's also, as Matthew pointed out earlier, you are being measured on not just your ability to speak.
That's it. So this kind of question, what I would start off doing is, you see that map of Africa. Start off with the overall gist, the overall idea of what you're looking at. So this is a green map of Africa, and then move in for a bit more detail and interpretation. So always start off with what's the main theme and idea, and then move in a bit more narrower.
So this question type is called a listen and repeat sentence. And as there's a sentence written, you have to repeat it in a set amount of time. And of course, in this particular question, you are measured on more than one skill. your ability to read and your ability to speak. And you want to, as Matthew alluded to earlier, speak clearly in a normal tone and get to the end of the sentence.
근데 if I can't get the word and on the paragraph, and then even though that just speak something like blah, or I have to make a blank on the sentence. Which one is better?
I wouldn't say the word blank.
Yeah.
Just try to repeat it as best you can. It's another partial credit question. So if you miss something off, you might not get 100% for that question, but you could still get some good ones. So we give a number of examples of this. It's not just one. There are several. So actually, let's try one now, shall we? So both for Chris and Kai, actually. So today it's raining, you need an umbrella.
Today is raining, you need umbrella.
God, you were quiet. I thought you were going to speak at the same time. You just let Chris do it. Oh, that's I thought you were waiting for him. And, well,
and now I can't remember the sentence. It's terrible.
Yeah. So I didn't mean that just for you. It was both. But, yeah. So that's the idea. So some of them will be shorter, some of them longer. You don't have to copy the accent. So Kai and I have different accents. You don't have to copy that. It might help to copy the intonation though. So if it's a question and I go up at the end, you can go up at the end. So we don't expect you to be able to do perfect American, perfect Australian accent and perfect British accent. I can't do that. So. Shadowing. You were going to do shadowing? Shadowing. Just a little tip to practice that kind of question. A technique called shadowing, which is where you're basically just repeating perhaps what you've heard. So you can do this if you're watching a TV show or a drama, repeating what you hear. You could even record your own voice doing it. So on some of our preparation material, we have what are called sample questions. And you can try a number of examples of that listen and repeat and record yourself and play it back, and you can hear how accurately you're doing it. So you can't practice speaking in silence, basically. So even if you're on your own, repeating things, shadowing, copying, particularly if you get feedback, is quite useful. A little tip.
And the final question type we're going to share today is summarize written text. So this is, again, pulling together two skills, one of writing and one of reading, but you also have to do it in a set amount of time, and you have a specific 5 to 75 word or 75 word length limit. So it can be challenging. But of course, you want to do the best you can to summarize what you're seeing in the text.
That's great. Thank you. So this kind of question, as well as mentioned before with that speaking example, with this you're actually getting points for some reading and writing at the same time. Because to answer this, you've obviously got to read it. So I think that quite suits Korean students. Tend to practice a lot of reading at school, so they can use those skills within this writing question. So understanding that key information. I suppose a little tip at the bottom there, it says between 5 and 75 words. It's one sentence, so don't write a sentence of 500 words. Okay, a normal sentence, maybe some commas, some clauses. Yeah. Clearly, naturally. Don't worry about accent too much. Just make sure it's clear. A mistake people make, in my opinion, is they think too much about scoring and technique. So sometimes they go into the test and they're thinking about too many different things at the same time. And they look at the question and think, right, I have to show this skill, this skill, this skill, this skill, I've got to do that. And you get yourself a bit confused. Yeah. Worry about all that when you're practicing and learning your English. when you go in the test, just concentrate on the question basically, and just try to answer it. Don't think too much about the scoring, because you can confuse yourself, and yeah, that's what I recommend.
So here we have the actual academic score sheet that you would receive from Pearson. That also, when you designate it to an institution, they would see the same thing. So you're seeing that up on the upper right hand corner of the screen. And basically there's your overall score, which is a score between 10 and 90 and is based on the global scale of English. And obviously the higher the score, the better you've performed on the test. That one score takes into account all of your abilities, but the report actually breaks it down into the further communicative skills, reading, writing, speaking, listening. And then something that's unique to our test is what you see below those scores, or the communicative skills, is the enabling skills. Those are not used in any way to as a cutoff score in courses, but they are there for your information to understand where you may improve your own score if you attempt to do this test again, or just in general where you can improve your overall ability. And those enabling skills and scores roll up into the communicative skills scores, which roll up into the overall score.
These are what I think is especially useful. We have online scored practice tests. So our practice tests, you can do them at home and you get a result within about 20 minutes, even for speaking. So these are $36 because we score it using our artificial intelligence, same as the real test, in just 20 minutes. So whichever test you take, they're all expensive, so save your money is what I recommend. Try a practice test first and only take the real test when you're ready. So we only want you to take our test once and get a good score. So these I think are very useful, the practice tests.
이 프랙티스 테스트는 오늘 이제 10분 한정해가지고 드릴 거거든요. 그래서 이거를 지금 그냥 시험 그냥 봐보시고 싶으신 분들, 그러니까 준비 어느 정도 하고 볼게요. 준비 어느 정도 하고 이제 시험 준비 봐도 되겠다 싶으신 분들은 저희 밑에 이제 연락처들 나오니까 거기 통해서 연락 주시거나 아니면 저희 유튜브에 댓글 달아주시면은 그쪽으로 저희가 연락을 드리겠습니다. 그쪽 통해 그러면은 그거 통해 가지고 프랙티스 테스트 보실 수 있게 저희가 제공해 드릴 테니까 관심 있으신 분들은 연락 주세요.
Alright, thank you. There's also some preparation courses starting in Korea as well. So the Korea Heralder, for example, are running courses, and there's going to be some other ones as well that you can find online. So just want to move on to a discount, and we can, I think, provide that afterwards. I'll send this to Bada. But our test fee is 25만 원. When you go to book a test, on the payment screen, which is what you see in front of you, it asks for a promo code. And if you type in, then you get a 10% discount. So then the test fee will be 20만 5천 원. Okay. So we're doing that until the 30th of June. So I think the key points for me really are that the test is accepted now for what you need it. So it's not just Australia, it is around the world, and particularly in Canada. We test very often, 6 days a week. You get the results very fast, able to confirm that place and the fair scoring of PTE. So accepted, fast and fair are the 3 points I'd like you to remember, but above all you have a choice. So for some, PTE might be the right choice. For others, maybe they prefer something different. And that's really your advantage now, is that you have a choice which test to take. and that's a very powerful thing. You can go for the option that suits yourself. So what I recommend first of all is just learn about your options. So visit our website, pearsonpte.com, look at those videos, maybe try a practice test and see what you think, really. I don't know if you have any.
No, I think you summed it up very well. Other than we would love to see students in Canada.
Yeah. So, suppose any more questions?
I think good. 지금 보시는 분들 궁금하신 점 있으시면 이때 코멘트 달아주시거나 여기 카카오톡 연락 주시면은 저희가 여쭤보고 답변해드릴 수 있도록 하겠습니다. 예.
I'll tell you what. I'll make an offer. If you write in some questions for Chris, maybe in 1 week time, if there's any that Chris doesn't know the answer to, if you send them over to us, and we'll try and answer those questions for you. Okay? So within the next week, if you do have any questions, visit the Bada website. They visit, or wherever Chris said to write the questions. My Korean's not that good. It's just a little bit. So any questions that come in within the next week, if Chris can let us know, and we'll answer those questions. So.
오늘 간단하게 이제 PT 한국에서 좀 잘 알려져 있지는 않지만 점점 알려지가고 있는 잘 알려져가고 있는 PT 시험에 대해서 알아봤고요. 오늘 내용이 조금 많이 도움이 됐으면 좋겠습니다. 저희 PT는 저희 바다주 그리고 바다유학과 함께 하니까요. 궁금하신 부분 있으시면 언제든 저희 연락 주시면은 저희 PT 아카데미 오피셜 통해 가지고 답변 드릴 수 있도록 하겠습니다. 오늘 바다군이 알려주는 바다주 바다군이었습니다. 감사합니다. Thank you.
네, 감사합니다.
thank you.
Thank you.